This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the BTS channel. I am your host, George Lucas, and today we're going to be talking more about Pokemon Dungeons & Dragons. In my previous video, we discussed whether or not a perfect Pokemon game is a video game or a TTRPG. Dungeons & Dragons.
We're raiding dungeons and fighting dragons!
Based on the comments from the last video, it seems that you guys want more tabletop RPG Pokemon content. Disclaimer, this video isn't about everything that needs to happen to make a Pokemon TTRPG, but rather going over the notes that I have been developing for my campaign over the last couple of years. Where do you even begin? Do you start writing encounters and quests, battle mechanics, world maps, Pokemon you'll use? Asking who, what, where, and why I find are the most important questions when it comes to lore building. Starting with who, I have two amazing players, Dom and Sarah. I'm still waiting for their backstories, but I know Dom wants to play as a traveling musician, and Sarah is taking the nurse class. Their starter Pokemon will be an Eevee and a Piplup. I'm still figuring out the what. I have the first quest figured out to introduce them to the mechanics, but for the overarching story, I'm not too sure, but luckily I know where my story takes place.
The Sinnoh region, a breathtaking, awe-inspiring corner of the Pokemon world, complete with an amazing array of Pokemon.
Call me unoriginal, but I love the Sinnoh region. I love the mythology that comes from it. I know I don't want to rehash the story from the video games, but rather rebuild upon it. I like the idea of using Team Galactic, but I will change this if the backstories my players provide prove that there isn't really any interest in that. To establish what should be tackled first, let's look at the pile of information and sort through it.
There's too much digital information out there not to figure out a foolproof way to store it forever.
There are 1,025 at the time of this recording, with more on the way, with Pokemon Winds and Waves coming out next year. And then you have 934 Pokemon moves.
There's too much digital information.
That's a lot of stuff, but here's where it gets easier. Let's say you were to start with Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur can learn 15 moves from leveling up and 21 TM moves in Generation 9. That's 36 moves. One of those moves is Tackle, which 99 other Pokemon in that generation can learn. From this data, my theory is this. The working curve is a downhill slope. At the start, it'll be the most work, but as you were to pick a Pokemon, then convert the moves it learns, you are checking off a move for every Pokemon that knows that move. So the farther you go, the less work per Pokemon is needed, which means you can add Pokemon faster as you write the story. I've already gone and converted 220 moves. So that begs the question, how do you choose what Pokemon to put in the campaign?
Decisions.
By picking the Sinnoh region, I cut the Pokemon down to a little over 500 Pokemon, but I asked my players for their top 10 Pokemon they want to see. While I waited for the list, I pulled up a map of the Sinnoh region, bullet pointing important aspects of each town. This way I can cross-reference whatever they said to me with the Pokedex entries of each Pokemon and create special encounters for them. Alrighty, so it looks like they sent me their list, so let's go over it. Starting with Vulpix.
Vulpix, the fox Pokemon. At the time of its birth, it has just a single snow-white colored tail. The tail splits from its tip as it grows older. If it's attacked by an enemy that is stronger than itself, it feigns injury to fool the enemy and escapes. Inside Vulpix's body burns a flame that never goes out. During the daytime, when the temperatures rise, this Pokemon releases flames from its mouth to prevent its body from growing too hot. It manipulates balls of fire that seem to resemble the spirits of the deceased to catch its prey. Some people mistakenly think this fire is a ghost. Just before evolution, its 6 tails grow hot as if on fire.
Already we know the players were to be attacked by a wild Vulpix. It will try to use Will-O-Wisp type fireballs to lure players into an ambush. Let's assume our players have 1 Pokemon each, both at level 5. We can make our Vulpix pack level 5 to compensate. The following steps I do are to determine the stats for each wild Pokemon. Step 1, I roll a d20 for gender. Even for males, odds for females. Step 2. Vulpix has 2 abilities. Roll a d20. If it lands on a 20, give it its hidden ability. Roll a d20 again to determine Vulpix learns an egg move. So let's get our stats going. Both Vulpix are going to be female. There's no visual marking to tell the difference. Both will have the ability Flash Fire. If they were to get hit by a fire type move, in the games, they raise your fire type moves by 1.5 times. For our TTRPG, we'll add 1d4 for the time being. Their movesets Tail Whip and Ember. Ember was easier to figure out. Since the games already have a power stat, I put them on a chart with the traditional hit die and ranges from D&D 5e. The reason being is that's what I know, and I want the system to be easy to pick up and play, where you could take any Pokemon or move, apply to the formula, and know exactly how it works, with just a smidge of fine-tuning. Ember can do 1d6 of fire damage. Rolling a percentage die, if it lands on 10, can leave the target with a burn effect. Its range is 30 feet out of 120 feet. Tail Whip is a different story. It's a move that tricks your opponent into lowering its guard. At the moment, I have it set to lower the AC by 1. Perhaps I could change it to 1d4 to add more tension, because going from 15 AC to 11 AC is scary. But also, I haven't really gone into Pokemon stats too much just yet. So I guess there's another future episode for you. I also want to point out that I want to make handouts for players to make it easier to keep track of those stats, especially for when they catch more than 6 Pokemon. With that said, I have the basic information to start the random encounter. The Vulpix will be hiding in a bush with a predetermined stealth check, casting a Will-O-Wisp, floating above the path. If a player goes up to investigate, the pack jumps out and a battle begins. And now let's talk hunting encounters, in case my players actively search for a Vulpix. As of location, we know in Legends Arceus they are found along Sinnoh's east coast, along the Cobalt coastlands. And in the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we know it can be found on Route 209. Since the Pokedex talks about Vulpix shooting fire out of its mouth to cool off, they may find a jet of fire shooting up into the sky in the distance. I would have them do a number of survival checks, or you could write a whole quest so they might be able to just catch one. While your heroes are having Nurse Joy look at your Pokemon, they hear a group of trainers that are seeing ghosts in an old mansion along the coast. The players think they're going to stop a coast Pokemon, when in reality, it's just a pack of mischievous Vulpix messing with the locals. For extra flavor, newborn Vulpix have one snow white tail, making it super special because we never see that in the games. I think I'll have a baby Vulpix at the Solocian Town daycare as one of the Pokemon the old couple is watching. Vulpix also have more than 6 tails, showing players which NPCs love their Vulpix, making it a cool detail for Pokemon contests and trainer encounters. But what kind of trainers can our heroes expect to find?
Classes in session.
The way I've been doing the class system was I first listed out the trainer classes that are in the games and then associated each trainer class with a D&D class. Note, I haven't dived heavily into the classes and fully fleshed them out. Suggestions are welcome in the comments below. Player number 1 wants to be a musician, which obviously is just straight up a bard. His hit die, saving throws, and skills are the same, but I'm thinking he specializes in electric-type Pokemon, seeing how throughout the games the trainers are paired with electric Pokemon, and on top of his starter he can add Whismur, Zubat, or Kricketot to his team. I might change this to he specializes Pokemon related to sound, but I find that too broad or too niche. Player number 2 wants to play as the nurse class. Traditional D&D stats will be translated from Cleric. In her inventory she starts off with 3 full restores, specializes in Psychic and Bug Pokemon, can add Chansey or Ozino on her team. I might change Chansey to Happiny and Bug to Grass, but let's break it down so we can see what a full class looks like. Out the gate, we're going to throw out specializing Pokemon from the get-go. Specializing in a Pokemon means you can add your proficiency bonus to whatever check is related to the type of Pokemon you are specialized in. This is so that players aren't locked into one type, but allows you to get specialized perks depending on your class. Using the Cleric class as a loose guide, I copied over the level up chart so we can see when upgrades happen. And the Cleric pulls from different domains based on the deity he or she follows. I took that idea and changed it to a variety of different medical fields: medicine, psychiatry and neurology, pediatrics, pathology, and orthopedics. Medicine features include proficiency in medicine and nature checks, heal rules for healing abilities, and grass-type Pokemon. Psychiatry features include proficiency in deception and insight checks, wisdom saving throws, and psychic-type Pokemon. Pediatric features include proficiency in animal handling and acrobatics checks, fire-type Pokemon and normal-type Pokemon. Pathology gives proficiency to medicine and nature checks, like the medicine field, but also proficiency in constitution saving throws and poison-type Pokemon. Orthopedics gain proficiency in athletics and acrobatics checks, strength saving throws, and fighting-type Pokemon. Clerics in D&D have an ability called Destroy Undead, and depending on the challenge rating or CR, can just destroy them. Obviously in Pokemon we don't just destroy someone's existence, but I like the idea of nurses having a buff against poison and ghost types, seeing how they're trying to postpone the arrival of death. I shall call it Resist Undead, and as a nurse levels up, gets advantage on attack rolls against ghost and poison types. This is all still a work in progress. Admittedly, my big concerns are to give players strengths and weaknesses to complement each other, but not make anyone overpowered, and finding that balance of what a trainer can do and what a Pokemon can do. The last thing I have for my notes is the first quest of the story. It can act as a one-shot, but it allows players to get their feet wet and learn how to play. I'll break it down in a future episode because I want to hide it from my players. Our musician player is also an experienced DM, and we trade notes and I travel down to visit, and we'll be sending him the video to get his opinion. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. Be sure to consider supporting us on Patreon so that way we can go and create the miniatures, tabletop terrain, and the handouts for our players because we do plan on live streaming it on our gaming channel. So, stay tuned!